Ciao Fidias, in primis, first of all, congratulations for your mission, very interesting. What are you doing and moving in every direction which need to be moved in the sense of different perspective. I just wanna, sorry for the way I'm communicating with you, because if I have to write, it's gonna be like an encyclopedia, and I know probably you prefer to listen than to me to write, and then you reread what I've been writing. Italian, yeah, so it's not English, my native speaking language. Is going back to your big question about what democracy is. I've been trying to study, analyze, traveling, working all over the world as an anthropologist and other things, what democracy means, because we are probably too used to accept this concept in a passive way without asking ourselves what does it mean. First of all, we have to go back to the etymology. And second, we have to try to understand why we accept to call democracies countries and nations where, in fact, despite being called democratic, the system applied and acted and played is not democratic at all. There are two books in front of you. The title is in Italian. I'll easily translate for you, and probably you know Latin languages a little bit, like I know a little bit of Old Greek, because we come from the same cultural area. The first, Democracy as Violence, is the translation, beautiful translation, of a small booklet we found as the first and most ancient example of a Greek writing. Is quite interesting and symptomatic. It's an anonymous from Athena, and it tells actually why democracy is violence somehow. The book has been sponsored somehow by a very famous Italian intellectual, which is not absolutely anti-democratic, but just studies how 2,500 years before, more or less, the old Hellenic Greeks, I prefer to say Hellenic probably, after a few centuries after having invented democracy, they were already testing the damage, the collateral damage of the system itself. Why? Because demos kratos is like Kraft in German, is the brutal strength of the population, of the people. What does it mean? It means exactly that if we have everybody, more or less, going to vote for an election, and one counts one, it means that statistically probably we could have 100 stupid people which give a vote, count one, versus one smart guy which counts nothing, because one in 100, who's winning? The 100 stupid who are electing and are stupid, probably because they're stupid or because they have been corrupted or for other reasons. So this is the deformation of democracy. On the other hand, you see on the right side, we have Plato, which has been writing a lot, versus the democracy. So this is something probably you know very well. I'm turning 60 in a few days, so probably maybe I spend more time than you did in writing books and studying and traveling and working and doing things. But I experienced, on my skin around the world, the idea of democracy. So this is the first point, which is paradoxal and which is making me skeptical about the passive acceptance of democracy as a positive value. So democracy is just a way, depends, like an instrument, depends how you use it. Another example versus democracy, contra democracia or respublica, what you want, is that actually we think democracy is when, after the election, we structure a body of laws, and when we refer to a body of laws made by a majority elected, second step, we are definitely super democratical. But can you say India is democratic? Have you been to India? Can you say South Africa was a democratic state because it has an election, had election before? You can say Israel is a full democratic area. You can say United States, we all the time, we take like the Statue of Liberty, the example of freedom and democracy, but hang on, wait a second. Let's go back to the end on the Second World War. What's happened? Nazi lost. The Nuremberg trial. I mean, the director of the Nuremberg trial was actually mainly the Americans. So we had this trial mainly based on the fact the Shoah and how racism and apartheid and massacre and systematically planned ethnocide of blah blah blah. So based on racism. So after that, we have a lot of people killed, processed, hanged, and whatsoever. And this has been ruled by the Americans, the example of democracy and whatsoever. And then what that was so much mesmerized, hypnotized by the American democracy, then we changed the international institution. We create United Organization of the United Nations, and we moved from Switzerland to United States, New York, the headquarters of the new organization of the United Nations. So I mean, if after the Second World War, if after Nuremberg, I move the headquarters of the United Nations, has to be like the best nation in the world. What I mean, no. So we create a new international organization accepted by all the world after the Nazis in the United States, Americans, responsible for the explosion of 2 atomic bombs, a country where the death penalties was run like hell, Old Sparky, the name of the electric chair, and in a country where racism and apartheid was legal. We didn't think about this. Oh yeah, because we were mesmerized, hypnotized by Marvel heroes, Hollywood, cowboys and Indians. I mean, this is another example of how democracy has to be really analyzed in other aspects. Then we have to start to create, 2 different polarities. We have plutocracy and we have democraturas on the other side. So we have different shades of democracy, but democracy for us is something else. Definitely. I asked an artificial intelligence to give me a better analysis of what democracy could be rewritten, reseen, and the answer was very unexpected. I'm not very much pro artificial intelligence, especially when we need to improve the natural intelligence, because natural intelligence, after the development of the wild and uncontrolled internet and social and whatsoever, I think you've read Shoshana Zuboff, The Capitalism of Surveillance, and after in Italy we just issued this new book called Hypnocracy, and this is very beautiful. I don't know if it has been translated into English, but probably it will, and the book Hypnocracy is fantastic. It's talking about more or less the mesmerizing effect of this touch screen, lights, concept, idea, brainwashing, and whatsoever. So the artificial intelligence, which I don't love without exception, but I have some points I should better discuss and talk about. But before let this artificial intelligence run crazy. We should better try to develop and to increase our natural intelligence, that I think will be even more destroyed by the wild acceptance and use of this artificial intelligence. Probably I'll send you the translation in English one of these days. Thank you much for your mission. Fidias is a sort of miracle somehow. I really appreciate the fact you invited Jeffrey Sachs, which is a very, very good person. I really love him, and I've been collaborating. I had a cultural anthropological association with some friend involved. Big responsibility as directors in some structure of NATO. Probably we're still going back to common point of view, but after COVID and this Ukrainian stuff, we just stayed and we played different position, because you know what I'm talking about. And this is not probably the place where deeply analyze the fact on a historical point of view, geopolitical, geostrategical, geoeconomical, but I think it's crystal clear, in front of the eyes of everybody. I don't understand if politicians are stupid, or they think we all are stupid, because sometimes you cannot really listen such a bullshit that we are spread all over, and is unbelievable, is incredible. So thank you much for your mission. Thank you very much for your mission. The point is to dismantle, get into this disgusting European community structure in Brussels. I think it's not a coincidence. Brussels is the headquarters of the Commission and the NATO as well. The structure is not democratical at all. We already, talk about the steps of how democracy has to be understood, played, analyzed. I'll send you the transcription and the translation of the analysis and the idea of new point of view about the idea of democracy that this artificial intelligence gave me. Is wonderful, incredible. So probably artificial intelligence, I know if she played to give me a favor, but was completely in line with my thoughts. I'll send you. And the plan is to change this terrible, devastating, very dangerous community, which is a dictatorship of the Commission. The parliament doesn't count anything. In Italy, we have a structure which is very terrible, very dangerous. The only one as a big nation we have in Europe, because all the major nations, they have a state which is a controlling power, like we have or a presidential democracy, or you have a monarchy, constitutional monarchy. In Italy, we have the dictatorship of parliament, and the state is only an emulation created by the two cameras, the two parliament, the two, and it's terrible. Anyway, I'll tell you in details now. It's just the first approach. We have to talk so much about everything. And anyway, I'm going to London for a while. I'll be back in 10 days. Then I go up on the Alps on my Eagle Nest Alpine retreat. You're welcome anytime. There is a lot of work to do to create clans, to create structure, to create department and so on, and try to affect this Brussels stuff and give the opportunity to people to cooperate much better, and to try to make this nucleus in every country. And I have this new logo, this new idea about this. I'll talk you about this. It's called use in Latin, which means justice. Because law is not making the justice, because the law is based on a wrong and damaged idea of democracy. Talk to you soon. Be good. Ciao.